Welcome back to talknorth.com. Thank you for listening. If you can, please download before you listen. It helps our business. I'd also like to thank our producer, Brandon Morton, and let you know if you'd like to sponsor this program or any of the programs on the network, you can reach me at mshsl-org@gmail.com. talknorth.com is powered by Bite Squad. Go to bitesquad.com or download their app. Get food to your door in minutes. Use the promo code TALKNORTH to get your first delivery free. Talk North gets you your first delivery free. Preps Today with John Millea is brought to you by gourmetparlorpizza.com out of Royalton, Minnesota, and also Bite Squad. Use the promo code TALKNORTH for your first delivery free. Welcome back to Preps Today with John Millea. This is our prep sports show on talknorth.com. You can find all the shows at talknorth.com or subscribe to your favorite podcast app or follow us on social media and get the links that way. The network has grown dramatically, 145,000 listens last month, with another record for us. Thank you to everybody who's made that possible, including Mr. Millea. Thank you also to Gourmet Parlor Pizza, gourmetparlorpizza.com out of Royalton, Minnesota. We'll tell you about how you can use Gourmet Parlor Pizza to fill your belly or to fill other people's bellies via fundraiser. They've been a great sponsor. They're a great company, and you can find a lot of their products in your local grocery stores as well. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. Please download before you listen. It's a better listening experience, and if you'd like to advertise with us, you can reach me at jsouhan47@gmail.com. Let's start, John, with the kick heard around the world.
Yeah, Jim, this was at the state soccer tournament last week at U.S. Bank Stadium. The championship games were quite exciting. 3 of them went into overtime. So the 1A boys game between Blake and Bemidji, there's your metro private school against your far outstate school. A great matchup. Blake came in as the number 1 seed. Bemidji was one of the 3 teams not seeded. So Lumberjacks had a great year. Game is scoreless through regulation. The game is scoreless through the first 10-minute overtime period. So we're going to get ready for the second 10-minute overtime period. If it's still tied, we go to penalty kicks and a shootout. And son of a gun, a sophomore from Blake named James Keegan. This is on the kickoff. You know, they're going to start the second overtime. They're going to... in 99 cases out of 100, maybe more, a kid taps the ball to a teammate, and they move down the field and try to get something going. One of the Blake kids asked the field official, can he kick it right on the kickoff? Can he kick it into the goal? And the official said, yeah, that's legal. He did. So he did. 55 yards. This thing was a Sports Center top 10.
I saw that.
55 yards right into the goal. He had. I was somebody who didn't see it. I mean, the video was everywhere later, but asked me, tell me about it. I said he had to put it into a window about the size of a laptop computer from 55 yards away, and he did. And the Bemidji goaltender leaped, got a hand up there. He might have got a fingertip on it, but in it went, and it was amazing. So Blake won the 1A boys soccer championship on just a miracle shot. And as cool as that was, the response by the Bemidji team and the coach was tremendous. So their goalkeeper, Joe Fletcher, this is Joe's first year playing soccer. He's a senior. He's not their normal goalkeeper. He had hardly played. I think he'd been in 3 or 4 games all year. Jedediah Bitter, which is a great name, their number 1 goaltender, he had been injured in the second half. So here comes Joe Fletcher off the bench. State championship game. And when the goal went in, the Blake kids, started running towards their fans and celebrated like, of course you would. It's miraculous. And the Bemidji kids all gathered around their goalkeeper. They love this kid. And in our little press conference afterwards, just Rick Tward is the coach, and he had a couple players in there. One of them, Ben Hess, said, it was a really good season. I loved every second of it, and Joe's probably the best teammate I've ever had. He gives us pep talks before every game. He keeps us pumped up on the bench. It's his first year out. I can't say enough about him. So if you think anybody was down on the goalie for letting a 55-yard miracle kick get in, and then Rick Tward, the coach, he pointed out as our little media session ended, he looked at me and he said, John, I know you're always looking for really good, cool stories. And he said, we've never cut a kid on this soccer team at Bemidji. Every kid who comes out plays. So for me, he said, that's kind of a testament to what high school sports is supposed to be all about. I had a couple kids on the bench this year that didn't get a ton of minutes, but they got to enjoy the ride. And we as a community are super proud of that. We're inclusive. We want everybody to have an opportunity. And it was a cool way to end the season for both teams. Blake gets the state championship. Bemidji really made a testament, really made a statement about coming in unseeded, on a greater Minnesota team. Their third year in a row to state, and the first year they got past the state quarterfinals. So good for everybody there. In the other championship games, Matamidi won the 1A girls title for the second year in a row. And in 2A, the Minnetonka girls were the champs, and Stillwater was another repeat winner in the Class 2A boys. So, we've talked about this before, being able to use U.S. Bank Stadium for this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of empty seats. Don't get me wrong.
That's okay. It's still a beautiful place.
But it's so great. The kids love it. It's a great place to play soccer, to watch soccer. Students and it's like any other high school state tournament. If the games are during the day, every kid in that school wants to get on the bus and skip school and come down. So it was a great environment, really great soccer.
John has been writing about sports in Minnesota for a long time. Now he works for the mshsl. You can find his work at mshsl.org under John's Journal. He goes all over the state, which is why, obviously it has done him very well. As a writer, it also makes for great podcast material because he goes everywhere around the state. He covers all the big events. He knows everybody. He tells great stories. So I highly recommend going to mshsl.org and finding it John's Journal. And I also recommend subscribing to this podcast. John's going to bring you stuff from all over the state every week. Let's go to cross country, unless you have more soccer.
That's the end of the soccer report, Chip. Yeah, we had our state cross country championship Saturday in Northfield down at St. Olaf College. I got to give a shout out to St. Olaf. They do a great job as the host. It's a fantastic place to do this. And the big story for me down there was the Perham Yellow Jackets. This is another outstate team, a northern Minnesota team. They made history. Their girls and boys teams both won the 1A state championships for the second year in a row. Never been done. So way to go, Perham. The other team champs were the St. Michael Albertville girls and the Edina boys, and I think those were the first state championships for those teams in cross country too. And we really had some good individual performances. In the 2A girls, Minneapolis Washburn's Emily Covert. She's a senior, no surprise at all. She didn't lap the field, but boy, she was really, really good, really strong. Repeated as the 2A individual champion. And she's a kid, a lot of these cross-country kids, they'll find country roads and gravel roads and go run. And she runs around the lakes in Minneapolis. She's from Washburn. She's a city kid. And as the media were talking to her afterwards, she talked about, her pride in representing her Minneapolis school. When she was in 7th grade, her parents asked her, do you want to go to a school that's known as a running school? Because she's also a great distance runner in track. And she told us, I said, no, I want to go to Washburn. I want to help the team at Washburn.
I like it.
How great is that? I tweeted those comments, and I just hundreds of retweets on that. And then she went on to say, I know if you talk about it and you get young girls out there, they're just going to keep having fun and keep on wanting to do more. So way to go, Emily Covert. Just a great example of, the headline I put on the story on John's Journal was Be True to Your School. And that's the neighborhood where she grew up. She wanted to compete for Washburn. I know how proud they are of her. And another 2-time champ was Grace Peng. She's only a sophomore in high school at Winona Cotter. She won the Class 1A girls race as a 7th grader. Now she's won it as a 10th grader. Her sister Lauren was the runner-up. And I think Lauren's an 8th grader. So that's the state of girls running, especially in the small schools. And the boys champs in 2A, Acer, this is a great name, Acer Iverson of Roseville. the poor kid has to go to Harvard next year and run. So good luck to Acer. I mean, I think it peaks on.
There's a little scenery around Cambridge.
Yeah, there's some.
You might see some historical artifacts.
There's some scenic places to run around Harvard too. And then another youngster in the 1A boys, a sophomore, Gino Urbaum from Greenway, Nashwauk, Keewatin, another northern kid. That's an Iron Range area up there. So really, it was a little cold across country. We were afraid we were going to get rained on. We had just a few raindrops, and it was a little cool, but it wasn't bad. Good for the runners. Nobody vomited on my shoes. That's how I mark whether it was successful.
I had a track coach in high school who was not satisfied with us unless we threw up.
That's
a little primitive. A little primitive. I'm not sure it really worked for us. I'm not sure we stayed hydrated or kept our nutrition going. I don't think modern medical science would approve, but I guess we learned toughness or something.
I guess so. You learn to eat a big meal before you worked out and get it out of the way.
I guess so. Good Lord. Thankfully, most modern high school coaches are a little more evolved.
Not a thing anymore, I'm sure.
Let's thank Gourmet Parlor Pizza, gourmetparlorpizza.com, out of Royalton, Minnesota.
Yeah, they're up there in Royalton. They've been in business since 1980. I was in college in 1980. So
I was too.
That's a long time.
Not that we're old.
Not that we're old, no. Just make sure when we leave here we take the correct walker with us. We don't want to mix up our walkers. They have more than 30 items to sell, and this is a great opportunity for fundraising for your clubs and your teams and your church groups and your graduation parties, dance teams, prom parties, everything like that. Gourmet Parlor Pizza in Royalton. They make it so easy. You can make a profit of at least $3 a pizza and more than $5. They have dozens and dozens of choices. And it's if you go to gourmetparlorpizza.com, you can get all the information, and so they'll set you up, and you can find their pizzas if you want to do a little taste test. Gourmet Parlor pizzas are available at select Cub Foods, Coburn's, and Kowalski's. And like I said, you can find them online, gourmetparlorpizza.com, or you can give them a call at 888-584-5930. Thanks so much to Gourmet Parlor Pizza.
All right, state football playoffs set.
Yeah, we've got section champions, Jim, decided, and this is the week when we're having our last outdoor football games of the year, and we have 8 teams left in each class, and the winners this week move on to the state semifinals at US Bank Stadium. One thing really stood out for me during the section final round games last week. People who follow Gophers football recruiting know about Jason Williamson, a senior from Owatonna. Committed to the Gophers. He broke the state record. This didn't get a lot of publicity. He broke the state record last week for rushing yards in a game. He carried 33 times for 477 yards and scored 6 touchdowns when Owatonna beat Northfield 49-25 in the 5A Section 1 championship game. And Owatonna, they're defending state champs in 5A. They're undefeated. And I tell you what, I saw them play early in the year. Jason Williamson is the real deal. He's big and strong and fast, and somebody who should have a great college career. But, 477 yards in a game. And Northfield is no slouch. Bubba Sullivan's been the coach down there for a long time. That's a perennial good football team. So hats off to Jason Williamson and Owatonna. We'll see what they do this week. And the previous state record was 464. That had stood since 2005. Alexander Robinson of De La Salle ran for 464 against Columbia Heights in 05. And Owatonna is going to meet Chaska this Saturday at noon in the 5A state semifinals. And this will be one of 3 games this weekend at the TCO Performance Center, the Vikings facility. So more high school football out there. I'm not going to see any football this week because I'm going to be at volleyball. We'll get to that in a minute, but it's going to be pretty cold this week. I'm going to be inside the XL Center.
Smart move.
So yeah, I've done this before. In 6A, you got 2 Lakeville schools in the Final Four. Lakeville North, that's no surprise. They've been the cream of the crop in most people's eyes in 6A all year. And Lakeville South is kind of sneaky. They're in there. I don't know if they both win this week, they would meet in the semifinals next week at US Bank Stadium. And what about St. Michael Albertville? People might remember last year in the postseason, they lost to Maple Grove. It was called the Maple Grove Miracle because the Crimson, had onside kick after onside kick and score and rallied from this, huge deficit in a snowstorm, basically, to beat St. Michael Albertville. And so what do the Knights do last week? They trailed Edina 28-0 halfway through the fourth quarter. And then, they turn the table. St. Michael Albertville starts scoring, starts onside kicking. They win the game 29-28. Well,